Why powerful people decide before they feel ready. Subscribe and hit the notification button for more. Daniel Cross learned the truth about power on a morning that felt unfinished. The sky over the city was gray, not stormy, just undecided. The kind of sky that made people hesitate before stepping outside. He stood in his office, jacket on, coffee untouched, staring at a deal that could either define him or quietly destroy everything he had built. The papers on his desk were perfect. Too perfect. Every line reviewed, every number stress-tested, every advisor paid to remove uncertainty. And yet, uncertainty remained. It always did. Daniel didn't feel ready. He never did. Years earlier, this feeling would have stopped him. Back then, readiness was something he waited for like permission. He believed confidence arrived first, then action followed. That if he just thought long enough, prepared deeply enough, one day clarity would settle in his chest and say, "Now. Now you're ready." That day never came. Instead, life taught him something far more uncomfortable: clarity does not precede decision. It follows it. The first time Daniel learned this lesson, he was young and invisible. At 26, he worked late nights in a borrowed office, building projections for ideas he never executed. He was smart, cautious, admired for his potential. People told him he was going to do great things. He mistook that praise for progress. Then an opportunity came. A founder he barely knew offered him a stake in a logistics company. Small operation. Thin margins. Big ambition. No guarantees. No safety net. Daniel asked for time. "I just need to be sure," he said. The founder nodded. He understood. Everyone understood hesitation. 2 weeks later, the offer disappeared. Another investor stepped in. Someone who didn't ask for certainty. 5 years later, Daniel watched that same company sell for more money than he had ever imagined touching. He didn't feel jealousy. He felt recognition. He recognized the cost of waiting. That night, alone in his apartment, he understood something that would quietly shape every powerful decision he made afterward. Waiting didn't protect him, it excluded him. From that point on, Daniel began watching powerful people closely. Not from a distance, but from the inside. He noticed they decided faster, not because they knew more, but because they accepted not knowing. They didn't wait for fear to leave. They acted while it was still present. He saw executives sign contracts with shaking hands. Investors say yes while privately unsure. Leaders walk into rooms knowing they might be wrong and choosing to lead anyway. Powerful people were not reckless. They were resolved. They understood a rule most people never learn: time does not reward hesitation, it penalizes it. As Daniel's influence grew, so did the weight of his decisions. Employees depended on him. Families depended on him. Entire systems bent slightly based on what he chose or delayed. And something strange happened. The more power he gained, the less readiness mattered. Because power changed his relationship with fear. Fear stopped being a stop sign and became a signal. Fear meant the decision mattered. Fear meant the outcome could alter the trajectory. Fear meant he was standing at the edge of growth. He realized that if he waited for fear to disappear, he would never move again. So he began deciding earlier. He fired people before he felt comfortable. He entered markets before they felt safe. He exited partnerships before the pain was obvious to others. And every time, the same pattern repeated. The moment he decided, the mind caught up. Clarity arrived after commitment. Confidence followed action. He understood then why powerful people often look calm in hindsight but ruthless in the moment. From the outside, it seemed like certainty. From the inside, it was controlled discomfort. Years later, sitting in that gray morning office, Daniel faced another one of those moments. The acquisition would stretch the company thin. It would expose weaknesses. It would invite criticism. Advisors suggested waiting. Analysts wanted more data. Younger partners wanted reassurance. Daniel listened. He always did. Then he remembered something else he had learned: input is not responsibility. At some point, the decision becomes lonely. Power doesn't mean you have better answers. It means you accept ownership of the outcome. He signed. Not because he felt ready, but because he understood that readiness was a luxury for people who didn't carry consequences. Months later, the market shifted. Competitors froze. Hesitation spread. The acquisition placed Daniel's company in a position no one could catch. People called it bold, strategic, visionary. Daniel called it familiar. Because the truth was simpler than people wanted to believe. Powerful people decide early because they understand a secret most people never confront. There is no moment when the future feels safe. There is only a moment when delay becomes more dangerous than action. Most people wait for certainty and lose time. Powerful people choose direction and force certainty to follow. They don't decide because they're ready. They decide because waiting costs more than being wrong. And in the end, that is the real divide: not intelligence, not resources, not luck, but the willingness to step forward while the ground still feels unstable. Because power is not about knowing. It is about choosing. Before you feel ready.